Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well today. Yes, so thank you for joining. Thank you for joining in on the conversation about global immigration stories. Let me tell you, you are in the best possible place you could be right now because this is going to be fun. We have a great panel. We have a great host of people. So, yes, go and get your popcorn, get your drinks. Just make sure you're comfortable, make sure you're listening. And if you've got questions, please do make sure to ask. And while we're doing that, make sure if you're not subscribed, you make sure to subscribe and like this stream. And yes, we will see you in a second. Hey, hello, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey, hey, good to see you all. And yeah, I've been looking forward to this conversation because this is very global, in my opinion, very global. And so
Yeah.
I'll let you all just introduce yourselves.
Okay.
Ladies
Um.
first.
Okay. My name is Alma. I usually stream with the Nuestra Experiencia tea. We actually have a show, a couple of shows. In one of them, I'm with Lissette, so she already know me and that. And I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be invited. I used to live in the U.S. Now I'm again living in my country, Mexico. So I'll give my opinion as a former immigrant.
Nice, thank you.
I guess I should take myself off mute if I'm going to talk, right?
Hmm. Absolutely.
Hello, it's super exciting to be here. Thank you for having me. My name is Lissette. Like Alma said, I form part, I'm very lucky to participate in Nuestra Experiencia Dea, where we have a few shows, particularly shameless plug, Crímenes de Fe, which focuses on crimes that have happened in the name of religion, God, or faith. So that's my little baby that I've been nurturing. Other than that, I'm pretty boring. I love true crime, clearly. And I live in Canada. I have since I was 6 years old. I was born in Chile, South America. And so I came here because I was 6 years old and my mom, I followed her onto the plane. So I'm very lucky to be here, happy to be in Canada, happy to be Canadian. And yeah, that's it.
I go by Baphometal. That's not my real name because that would be a really weird name. I was born and raised in Peru. My grandmother was from Chile, so this is kind of cool.
Yay!
Yeah, and I came to the United States when I was 13 years old because I was told to get on the plane as well. So I had no option. What else? I'm an Aquarius. I think I'm funny and a shameless plug as well. I have a podcast called the Burning Eden Podcast. It's comedy and satire, and it's pretty raunchy and messed up. So if you're an
That's
adult
my
and you
kind
like
of
that,
podcast.
yeah, there
I
you
was
go.
gonna say I didn't want to interrupt, but I was like,
Look,
that is perfect.
if you like adult humor, but we also talk about deconstruction stories. You know, we interview
Cool.
people like actual like good stuff. So I think it's pretty good. I don't
My
know
favorite
about
part
you.
about this, I'm so sorry. I'm trying so hard not to interrupt you,
You're
but
fine.
the fact that you said deconstruction stories is
Yes.
like absolutely amazing. Do you mean deconversion?
Yes.
Sure.
So that's
Yes.
what it means. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Love that.
awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
deconversion,
So
deconstruction.
my favorite, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's my favorite. I haven't,
Yeah.
sorry. I love those. I
No,
love
it's
those.
great. So my friend Mel and I, we have a show and we interview a guest
Cool.
each time. We just hit our 100th episode. We've been doing it for
Nice.
2 years, and we need more
Sweet.
subscribers. So
Hmm.
we have at least
You've got
5.
one here now.
We
Oh
have
yeah,
another one
and
here.
me. I'll
Yeah.
definitely be
Oh
subscribing.
man.
I think
Links in
I'm.
the
I
description.
think
Awesome.
I'm. I
But
think
yeah,
I'm
it's
already
we
subscribed.
have a great time. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate you guys having me here. It's very nice to meet you all.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And I'm the Afro Atheist. I'm from the other end of the
Wow.
world, Africa, right?
Mama Africa.
Yes.
Originally from Africa, a combination of Nigeria and Malawi.
That's awesome.
Dad was
Oh.
from Nigeria, mom was from Malawi. Two of them met in the Netherlands. They were both studying over there and decided to go back to Africa. And my teenage years, I just would tell mom, I would like to go to the UK. I would like to go to the UK. And mom says, okay, don't worry, we'll see what will happen, you know. And yeah, when I hit the age of 21 or 22, I don't remember now, it's a long time ago. Yeah, I got the chance to go and study in the UK. And
Mm.
let's just say
Cool.
loved it too much and decided to stay. So yes, I'm in the UK as we speak. And
Nice.
oh, and
Nice.
also on my channel, my channel was birthed when I walked away from Christianity
Mm.
and religion as a whole. So I do a lot of content from Africa because how Christianity religion is practiced over there, whew, it is something completely different, right? They when they do religion, they go all in, right? They believe in
Oh yeah.
everything they're told,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
you know can be very toxic, very abusive, and very controlling. So those are the things I try to you know to involve myself in. Yeah. So yes. Right.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Mhm.
Immigration stories. So I anybody who'd like to take it, just go ahead and tell us about your immigration story.
Okay. Well, in my case, I was already an adult when I moved to the U.S. And I moved there because I wanted to. Basically, it was because of my boyfriend. He had a permit, so I was like, he was like, "Are you coming with me or what?" So I am like, "Yeah, let's go."
Or what?
Or what? Yeah. And it was a bit difficult because I did not knew a word of English. I had to learn over there by being in the country and by talking to people and a little bit of bullying from my coworkers, but it was okay.
Mhm.
um, but after that, I learned that it opened like a lot of doors for me. Like once I started to speak English, I started to knew that I have access to better opportunities at work and talk to other people outside of the Hispanic community that we have in California, where I was living. And because of the work that I had at that time, I was offered to either move to Mexico again or lose my job. So I really loved my job at that time. So because I had already, the experience of living in Mexico and everything, I don't think that it was that difficult for me to take the decision to go back and just have the job that I had and make the money that I was making and live in Mexico because it was way better than any job that I could get in Mexico. Like it doesn't matter if you speak English in Mexico and you don't get the type of salaries that these companies offer. Even if they offer you like minimum wage for their country, uh, you are way better um, than with a job from the country itself.
Mm.
And well, being in the U.S. was like a whole experience. I mean, it was really fun at first. The first years where I was there, people were like, "Ah, yeah, we don't care." I did face a little bit of racism because, as you can see, my avatar is the same color as me. So
Beautiful.
sometimes, sometimes people will ask me, "Do you have documents?"
Mm-mm.
Oh no.
Oh
Yeah,
God. That's
yeah, it was kind of messed up. But by the time that I was leaving, I was around the time that Donald Trump started with the "I hate Mexicans" speech. So everything started to change. Like, example, I used to like drive everywhere because there are cities in the U.S. where you cannot go out if you don't have a car. So I live in one of those cities, and I will be stopped by the police even if I didn't do anything. Like, no tickets to be. I wasn't speeding. I wasn't doing anything. They just stopped me to check. Oh, do you have documents? Can I see your papers?
Oh wow.
And it was like very obvious
mm-mm.
that it was because of how I look. And it got so bad that even one of my friends told me, "Well, I drive for work every day, and at night I'll even come back a little bit drunk, and I have never been stopped." But dude, you were white.
Mm-mm.
That makes me so
Yeah,
angry.
Gosh.
Wow.
yeah. And the last time that I got stopped by the police was kind of scary because at that time I already had my daughter. So, and these guys were so mad that they couldn't find anything to charge me with. Not like nothing. I wasn't doing like anything. And I for some reason I was just going to the store, but I took my documents with me. I usually didn't
Wow.
do that, but for some reason that day I did it. I have all my paperwork with me and everything, and they were so mad they couldn't find anything, that they were like cursing and talking to each other, like cursing this, saying, "Oh, look at this bitch," and whatever, you know,
Wow.
because they thought I couldn't understand them. The guy
Wow.
will talk to me back like in a broken kind of Spanish. I mean, I think he knew how to speak Spanish, and they were like talking to each other, saying horrible things about me, like what I didn't do it, and I got really scared because they were looking for a way to send me to the INS. And
What's
imagine
the
that I have
INS?
I was going to ask the same
uh,
question too.
Immigration,
an
I guess, right?
immigration center.
Okay.
hmm
Mm.
So, so they were looking to send me over there, but they couldn't because they couldn't find anything. And at that
Wow.
time, I had just went to the store and I left my baby because she was a baby in that in my house. So imagine all me thinking, what am I going to do if they send me away?
Right.
Um,
My
That's
baby just with
terrifying.
the babysitter. She has no idea where I am. Nobody has any idea where I am.
Right.
What am I going to do? So then, when my boss told me, you know what, there is a chance that we are not longer going to work with anybody in the U.S. because
Mm.
the policy is changing. Blah blah blah. They don't want to allow workers online from our company, so we are going to stop working with the U.S. So there is one chance for you to continue working with us. Either you move or just tell us and we will process your exit from the company.
Wow.
So so that's how I decided, like, you know what? I am getting scared every day in here, and
mm-mm.
I'm getting yelled at for no reason. I remember that also during that period of time. One time I was with a friend. She was from Guatemala. She did not speak any English, so we were speaking in Spanish to each other. We were saying like, "Oh, you want to buy this?" Blah blah blah. And there was like an older guy behind us. It was a white guy. and he started to scream at us, saying, "Oh, you should speak English. You're in America. You fucking
Jeez.
bitches." And I'm glad that Trump is going to win and kick you all out.
Oh gosh.
So I was like, is it got up to the point that I said, this is not worth it.
Right.
So yeah, I decided just to pack my things and go.
Mm-mm.
Yep. And the thing is that now that I live here where I live, there is a lot of Americans in here.
And I bet no one gives them a hard time.
No,
Mm.
no,
Baph
um,
is like, I would.
I
Like his face
Pinches
is like,
gringos.
the thing that I like about the place that I am right now is because nobody is from here,
Right.
so uh, so there is not like, oh, you don't belong in here, or speak my language or whatever. There's people who come here from
right.
Germany, from Spain, from Argentina, from so
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it's not like that in here. It's not like in other towns in Mexico where people is like, who are you and what are you doing here? But yeah, that was my I lived like 14 years in the US until I
Oh,
Wow.
decided to
wow.
just like
That's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Oh, oh.
Oh,
I
hello.
decided it's not worth
Hey.
it. Hey.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hey,
Yeah, and all
so
my
good to
family was
hear.
in Mexico, so
Mm-hmm.
it was like I didn't want it to leave because I wanted to my kid to have like the education and everything in the US. But at the same time, I was like, what if I one of those times I don't have my papers with me and I get sent off while she's at
Jeez.
school? What can I do? I mean, it was scary. So yeah.
And with that escalating too of that racism and with that
Hmm.
political power like Trump that is just instigating and putting fuel to the fire, you don't even know that if you have your documents, what if you meet a very corrupt cop who comes and just completely rips it and just takes you anyways, right? Like that level of
Mm-hmm.
fear was just exponentially increasing because of everything that was happening in the States, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
can I just say like I'm really sorry that you went through all of that and thank you for sharing that because I think we don't hear enough about these stories and the stories that I have heard are from people that are close to me while we're having coffee and I think it's really important that people that maybe don't have friends that have immigrated or have been through these experiences also have an opportunity to be exposed to the reality of what it is, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about it, sometimes it seems so surreal and unrealistic and ridiculous that it's so hard to believe. But hearing it from a live person that says, I went through this, it puts a face to the action, right? And it makes it more human. And I think that's why it's important to have shows like this where we can freely talk about it and expose the bullshit that happens in the States and in so many places around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and going to the subject of Trump, for myself from the outside looking in, just some of the comments he would make about Mexican people and people he didn't like. I found them really offensive, and I could see how he can get people riled up just for making those comments because he's the main person up there, and there were people that fed on every single word that came out of his mouth. So I think the leaders we choose, we've got to be more. We need to make better choices of leaders, in
Here's
my
the thing,
opinion.
though. Here's the problem. That is just all we have. That's the
All
Yeah.
best.
right. Mm.
That is the best we got.
That's true.
And unfortunately, this is a clear reflection of the type of people we have in this country. This is gonna hurt, but this is a racist country that was built on racism.
True.
It was built on the
Hmm.
backs of slavery and immigration and genocide. That's just the fact. And throughout generations, the mentality of white supremacy, which also has been fueled by religion, of course, manifest destiny, all of that kind of stuff. We're here, we're white, we're better than y'all, and anyone else, screw you. That is alive and well. And a person like Trump simply emboldened people who already think
We're
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's the best we got.
Yeah.
Yay!
Whether they're wearing a red
Um,
tie, a blue tie, or a purple tie, they're still the same,
They're still the
unfortunately.
same.
That's just what it is. That's how I see it. It might be a little cynical, but
No, for
Yeah.
all the viewers, if you are wanting some optimism in your cup of coffee today, please go see Baphometal. He will give you the optimism. Amazing. But it's true. It's true. Like it like you said, it hurts. It sucks to hear. And we don't want to have to say it, but it's reality. So I'm not going to sugarcoat reality, because if I do, then it's just going to continue to happen. And that's why I believe in advocacy and talking about it and having these programs, right? Like that's the only way. Like when they say screw you, I just say it right back.
And that's the reason why these politicians want to get rid of critical race theory being taught in schools, because it's simply showing the real history, and it just makes them so uncomfortable and so embarrassed that they're like, oh no, we can't be teaching those hateful ideals. I'm like, bro, it's simply a mirror that we're pulling up here so you can see what it's like.
I think I would even go a step a little bit above that, maybe, and just say that I don't think that they are embarrassed. I think that they're probably proud and agreeing with what happened. But I think that the reason that they hide it is because they know that they know that it's wrong, in the sense of like, they'll agree with it, but it's going to be controversial. And so just like a lot of pastors and a lot of religions, they will show you the pretty parts and the beautiful parts, and they don't want you to see that crap that's in the background, right? They're like, no, don't go to the outhouse. Like, that's gross. You know what I mean? Like, it's too stinky out there. Like, just come into my living room. I've got cookies and coffee and milk. Like, I'll show you the outhouse once you're full of cookies, right? Like, it's that concept of, how am I going to entice you? And then once I have you, and once I'm controlling you, all right, now going from zero to that theory of it's okay to be racist is like a little tiny leap. It's not even like, because to me, if you talk to me about it, I'll be like, what the heck? Like, that's bizarre. Why would you ever treat somebody differently based on their skin color, right? But I can see how that indoctrination happens, where it's like that slow poison that starts creeping in. And then once you're past that loyalty level to that person, anything they say, you're already there.
Can I'll just speak a little bit about the United Kingdom. Lovely country. I've been here over about 20 years. And I've had my fair share of racism here. But not as bad as some of the stories I've heard from from America. But there have been cases of just racial attacks on people. Just many stories. But I particularly want to speak on Brexit. A lot of people voted to leave the United Nations, right? Is it United? Yeah,
Europe, right? Europe.
Yes,
they want to leave Europe.
Yes, you know what I mean. So
the European Union, that's what it is.
European
Union.
EU, sorry, the EU, right? Okay. So, but a lot of the information that people were getting at that time was on the immigration. Oh, they're coming to get our jobs. They're coming to come and take over. They were showing pictures of people on boats. It still happens till today. Lots of people crossing over from Africa's to Europe, right? So, but a lot of people made decisions on the Brexit issue based on immigration. This is my opinion, right?
Wow.
Because, oh, no, 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 we need to put a stop to people, the immigrants, right, getting into the UK. And so now, looking back, I've spoken to a lot of people, right? That if you had the choice to take back that vote, would you? Said yes, they would, because it was propaganda after all, to try and paint a picture, right? That this is this immigrants, right? We need to send
Mm-hmm.
them back. Go. I've been on the streets and you hear people go back home. What home? Where am I supposed to
Wow.
go back to Africa? You know, um, and just like you were saying, when you come, when you go to Africa, you see lots of people from the UK living over there. No one bothers them. In fact, they worship them when the kids over there, when they see a white person, they're so enamored
That's
by the
odd.
white
That's a
people,
little odd.
and they
Yeah.
they would, so they don't get that same treatment, and it's rather
Yeah.
unfair. I think that immigrants that come here actually boosts the economy, right? The
Hmm.
immigrants are ready to work. They're ready to take jobs that the others wouldn't. Just give me anything that would put food on my table, anything that would feed my children. So I think this is one part that I completely disagree with. I completely disagree with the idea of putting an overstayer, one who's overstayed their visa, the visa stay, right? When they're taking them, they put them in handcuffs.
Hmm.
I I don't know. I have a problem with that. Um, all they did was overstay their visa.
Hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
now we're treating them like animals. We're treating them
Criminals.
like
Criminals.
criminals,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. You know what
Enough
is
is
the punishment over here for somebody that overstays their visa?
what's the
In
punishment?
Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a $20 fine and
Oh,
another piece of paper that said that you can stay another six
Well,
months.
there you go.
wow.
Yep.
You
You know,
know,
and
oh, go ahead.
sorry. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that what you were saying, Afro Atheist, is very
Mhm.
similar to the United States. The way that immigrants have had such an important, role here in this country. For a long time, there used to be an actual government program in which they would bring farm workers from Mexico. It was called a Bracero program.
Bracero program.
Yeah, and basically they open the floodgates and here comes a bunch of immigrants, and they start having children and they start settling and like, oh, no, too much, closer, and now they can't, right? And like now you're undocumented and you're illegal. And so it's just a matter of politics and how much money they're making for the country.
Mhm.
And it's funny because a lot of people don't realize that persons who are undocumented in the United States and are working, you could say illegally or under the table, are actually able to pay taxes to the United
Yes.
States.
Mm-hmm.
There's this,
What?
I
Yeah.
swear, there's this thing called an
Wow.
ITIN number,
An ITIN
ITIN,
number. Mm-hmm.
ETIN, I call it.
Yeah,
Uh,
19
and
number.
it is cute because it's in the same
What?
format as the social security number. Coincidence? I don't know. Uh, and so the government
No.
Yes.
knowingly gives a tax identification number to persons who are not documented or authorized to work in this country, yet they are taking their cut of the pie. At the same time,
Wow.
these immigrants do not get any type of benefits. They cannot apply for Medicaid. They cannot get any type of retirement. No benefits. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of that? Like, as if I was an illegal immigrant in the States, why would I want to pay taxes if I'm not
So
getting anything in return?
the way they say it is like, if in the future you end up fixing your papers, you can
Right.
show us the history that
Oh,
you have
stop.
been paying
Been
taxes
paying.
this whole time.
Right. I see. I
What?
see.
I swear.
But
Yes.
I can
That's so
understand that though.
manipulative.
No,
That's
but
so manipulative.
Oh,
I
for
can
sure.
no, but I I see what you're saying, but I understand that perfectly, right? Because it then shows how long you have been in the
Yeah.
country. Because, like here in the
But it's a
UK,
lie. They're
Yes, there
literally
is.
doing it so that they can get the money for it. They're saying if you one day want to apply for your residency, then you can choose, then you can show that you've
Yeah. If
supported
there's a
and that you've
path,
paid your
and
taxes.
there isn't a path.
If
Yeah.
so,
there
there may
isn't.
be at one
No, there
day
isn't.
a chance for you to be, and it's dangling that carrot
Oh
so
yeah.
that they can get the
Right.
money.
Yep.
It's
Oh, I
sick. It's like
see. I see.
so
I
manipulative.
see.
It blows my mind.
Yeah, and there
Can
is no
can I?
path to citizenship in this country unless you're either born or you marry
Right.
into
Or you're
Oh
married.
wealthy.
Like there
wow.
is no other way.
Can I just
Yeah.
bring in the beautiful L
Hi,
in this
El.
Hey, Bill.
conversation?
Hi. Can you
Hey
guys hear me?
L. Yes, we
Hi.
can hear
This is the
you.
first time I see your
So
face, actually.
yeah. Yeah. So I migrated from South Africa to Australia. So it's a bit different here. The path to get into Australia is very intense. It took me 4 years to get here. Yeah, they make you jump through all sorts of hoops and forms you need to fill in, and you need to do an extensive skills assessment. You need to have 10 years experience in the field you are migrating into. They're very welcoming, though. They do love immigrants in this country. We've got a National Immigrant Day where you take your national dish, if you will, to work. And everybody enjoys everybody's food. So they do love immigrants in this country very much. But getting here is the hard part because not everybody will get here. And there's different types of visas. And then if you do have a working visa, you will eventually get to be a citizen. So there is a path to citizenship here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
In the UK, if you've stayed long enough, you will get citizenship. So you can get it by you used to be able to get it by birth, but I think that changed. Now I think one of the parents have to be a British citizen. Before it was automatic. When you're born, that's it, you get it. But I think a lot of people were taking advantage of that, and that got changed. So I think it was during the time of Margaret Thatcher. I'm not 100% sure, but now I think one of the parents have to be a British citizen. If you stay long enough, which they keep extending that time over and over and over again. I think now it's over 10 years. I think it's a long, and there are different criterias, different, lots of all these different criterias you have uh to meet in order to get the citizenship. Then also, if you marry a British citizen, that's a guaranteed way of getting citizenship here in the UK. So
I have a question for Elle, if that's okay. I'm just curious if, in your experience, because it's such a process to actually immigrate, do you find that there is more of an increase in illegal immigrancy because of that?
no, I don't think that you can be here
Interesting.
illegally at all. At all.
Really?
No. No. Have you watched the show Border Security Australia?
yes, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, no.
I haven't seen the Australian version. I just watched the Canadian version with the like live animals in suitcases.
Yeah.
It's like, sir, you cannot bring that giraffe in, sir.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's
why
why
are
there's
you
a
taking a
baby.
suitcase?
Yeah, they're quite extensive. Plus, we don't have any borders per se because we're surrounded by ocean. So you fly in.
Right. Duh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Come on,
fly in,
Lissette, you
and then,
know.
and then passport control is pretty intense because they want to see your visa. They want to know when you're gone. Where will you stay? You have to fill in a little form on the plane already when you get here. They want to know so many things, and then they go check up on you. They will collect you.
Wow.
There's no crime. There's no real crime in this country, so the cops are pretty bored. So they will collect
Had
you.
nothing to do.
Yeah. Even
But
during COVID,
uh,
we had COVID lockdown, and
Mm.
if you were registered as being on the lockdown, they will come do random checkups on people. So
oh, okay.
yeah, and if you're not home, they arrest you.
Ah.
They go find
And
you,
if
they
you're
arrest
home
you.
and
Well,
like
that country sounds
Why,
bedridden
you
so
at
know?
boring.
home.
That sounds so boring.
Wait,
There's no action. Over here, you can get shot in the movie theater. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yay!
fantastic.
yeah, there's no, yeah,
But
the
imagine
people
being
are
in
not so
bed,
bold.
right? And like having COVID and just like feeling
Yes.
like death, like just like the bell rings. It's like, oh no.
And I
No, but you know, according to some people in the US, Australia doesn't exist. So we are
What?
oh
probably
yes,
talking to a
yes.
NASA shell that is trying to convince us that.
What?
Yes, some people think that Australia doesn't exist.
So how do they like I'm just genuinely
What?
curious how these
Yes, some
people like what
people.
they think when they see like a globe, you know, like you're like
It's flat
at a toy
Earth
It's a
store.
there, so
conspiracy.
it's a conspiracy. You know, the Earth is flat, and Australia doesn't exist because it doesn't fit.
Elle, you don't exist. You're
I
not.
don't exist.
You're
Well,
in
I
a
am from
different
the
dimension
future.
world.
can I can
Oh,
I
there you
move
go.
can I move the conversation? Move the conversation.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I should have told
Okay,
everybody
that's
I
fine.
have
That's fine.
ADHD. Like
Okay.
it's so bad.
I just want to move the conversation along a bit. So what would you say has been the best and the most challenging thing about immigrating? For me, I'll start with myself. The most challenging thing is you leave a lot of family behind. Making friends as an adult is one of the hardest things I think one could do, right? Because everyone's stuck in their little set ways. Everyone has their friends from when they were young, and then you just move over from your country to another country, and where do you start from? So right now I've been here over 20 years, but I still have it's a very small community, very small, right? Because most of the family I've left, they're back there, right? When I'm back in Africa, I I don't feel like this is home. Right. When I come over here, yes, it feels like home, but it's like it's a very small community, right?
Mm.
That's the downside, I would say. But
Isolation, huh?
yes,
Mhm.
the good side, for me, if I didn't relocate to the UK, I'd probably still be a church going Christian sister in the Lord, praising her Jesus, and having
Praise Jesus.
Praise
I would
Jesus.
still be doing all of that. But moving over to the UK just opened my eyes to see, look, there were things that we prayed for in Africa. You don't need to pray for them here. You're not praying for where your next meal is going to come from. You're not praying for power to come on, right? You're not
Mhm.
praying for just the very basic things. So slowly, you start to see that when the system works, you minus,
Mhm.
you don't need God. You don't need God. You don't need all these higher powers coming to come and save you. Just as long as you know what you're doing, and as
Hmm.
long as you're hardworking, and you know where to go for the right for the right you know the right sources, right? You can survive. You can live life. You don't need
Hmm.
God. And so yeah, without I think I would still have been a Christian sister, probably making her way to becoming a preacher.
Damn.
Wow.
Well, I was making my way to becoming a priest in the Church of England, so
Whoa.
it all fell apart. Yes.
I actually think it also helped me in that way because before I come into the US, I was a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh wow.
And then when I came to the US, I started to see the main organization and see how they were and see how they actually were like, because it was nothing like they were telling us that it was in Mexico. It was nothing like it. I saw
Mhm.
the kind of money they have. I saw everything that they are doing in here. So it kind of started opening my eyes regarding religion in general. So, and also because, eh, like uh, like you said, it is very difficult to make friends once you're an
Mhm,
adult.
mhm.
And it was more difficult to me because I am very introverted. So what I do is just get next to a extroverted person and let them adopt me. So yeah, that's what I usually do. And but also there was like this language barrier that
Mm,
it was very difficult for me to overcome. Um, but it helped me that doing that, let them adopt me and let them bully me a little bit, like in the office where I used to work with, they were every day telling, hey Alma, do you speak English now?
oh no.
And I was like
Oh shit.
until one day I came over and I said, yeah, shut up. So yeah, it was but it was kind of like in a certain way it was great that I was able to start to talking with people in other communities, that it was not like the Hispanic community. um and that, like I said, that opened my eyes to a lot of things. Like I started to see a lot of things that I should probably wouldn't have seen, and I would be probably ended up being like a Jehovah's Witness in Mexico for a very long time if I did not saw everything that I saw over here in the US.
Wow.
I agree with that. I think I would have still been a fundamentalist Christian if I stayed in South Africa, because the place
Mm.
is very, very, very religious. Still now, people would pray in school and do all sorts of dumb shit. And it's normal there. My family is still fundamentalist Christian. So I
Wow.
think coming to Australia opened my eyes. Plus, I started studying science. So I started learning how to critically think. And I started deconverting myself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah, I agree. Making friends was hard. Leaving family behind was hard. Um, I brought all my animals over, so that's good. They had to stay in quarantine for 7 months.
Oh,
But
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
yeah,
That's a
did
long
you smuggle them
time.
like that show in the suitcase? Just
yeah, yeah, because we've got heartworm here, which is very dangerous to dogs, and so they wanted to make sure the animals is okay to come over. So 7 months is insane.
It
yeah.
It's
is.
insane. I mean,
It
the
is.
dog would have like moved on already. Thought the people in the pound is their new owners. So yeah,
Oh no.
Jeez. That's
yeah,
sad.
Oh
it,
gosh.
it, it was. The cat was happy to see me though.
Mm.
Yeah.
Lisette, did you want to tell us?
I just want to piggyback a little bit on what you said, Afro, because it really kind of hit home for me. One of my biggest struggles, I think, was coming to Canada so young at 6 was a huge benefit in the sense of being able to adopt the Canadian, the language, the culture. But because my mom was 44 when we moved out here, and I was, of course, 6 years old, so the rules of the house were still very Chilean culturally, religiously. Everything was still Chile. My mom used to say, from outside that main door, it's Canada. From inside, it's Chile. So you don't get to talk to me like that, right? Like,
Ooh.
so it was like I never really belonged anywhere because I
Oh,
was too Canadian for my household, right? And then, but I was too Chilean for a little grade 1 kid who had these like certain ways of being and approaching people, and just the little cultural nuances that you don't really think about until you're somewhere where those aren't a thing, right? So I think, coming of age and throughout my teenage years, I just always felt really alone in that aspect because none of my friends, as much as I was very good friends with them truly knew certain aspects of why I did things, right? So, and like my mom, she's amazing. Like she literally just brought in a coffee. She's like, here you go. Cause she saw that I had one that was empty, right? Like this is literally the human being that she is. Like she's incredible. She's 4'11", 120 pounds and terrifying. Like she is scary. So like the rules of the house were like, there is no like, right. So when you know, a lot of like 7-year-olds were going to sleepovers for like weekends at summer camp, my mom was like, what? Like that, people do that? Like, no, like you're going to be like killed, skinned alive. There's like serial killers out there. Like it was very like, you know, because like,
No.
but culturally, like that's not a thing, right? Like we never, like if I were to tell my family in Chile that I left, that I was going to go for summer camp for 2 months, they'd be like, why? What did you do? Like, are you going to juvie? Like, is that prison? Is that code for prison? Right? Like, we always knew she'd screw up. But so it was very hard in that sense. And I think it took me until I was an adult to really truly start understanding kind of myself and who I am. But I'm talking like once I left religion, right? Because while I was under the reins of religion, I still never had the opportunity to actually explore who I am and my likes and my dislikes. And I think that's a huge reason why religion got such a hold of me, because I was trained, for lack of a better term, my whole infancy, childhood, teenage years to kind of just adapt to my surroundings and not question it, because that's just how things were. And so when I was in, you know, like the wrath of religion, I guess, nothing was ever questioned. So immigrancy is really difficult because you have not only one world to know, but you're also leaving another world that's a part of you and will be a part of you forever. No matter how, like you can take the girl out of the ghetto, but you can't get the ghetto out of the girl, right? Like for me, like I am not like, I am Chilean to my core and I always will be. But it took me many, many, many years of self-reflection and low self-esteem and low self-confidence to really come to terms with that. So sorry, I went all over the place. Again, ADHD, my apologies.
I think there's something that there's something positive that we can all get, that moving out from the places where we're originally from open our eyes to a lot of different things, and it's probably the reason why we're not longer believers, because we were able to see more than one side of the things that we thought we knew.
Absolutely. 100%. Bath, we
Yeah.
need to hear you tell us what were the challenging things for you about immigrating, if there was any.
Yeah, totally. So I was raised Catholic because where I'm from, you're Catholic by default.
Yeah.
However, I was pretty different though, because I always like to question things. I don't really recall a time in which I consider myself a true believer per se. So since I was a kid, I never really bought it. I never really believed any of it, honestly. Perhaps a little bit of the God belief, but the religion itself, I was like, this is dumb. I don't get it. This is kind of funny, actually. I went to Catholic school because that's what you do, right? You go to Catholic school.
Yeah, I went to Catholic school.
Wore the uniform and everything. Did my first communion. I didn't do the confirmation though. So, but whatever. But it was funny because you go to Bible class and then the next period is science class, you know? So it's so strange.
Yeah.
It's so weird how they both live in the same world. But I always ask questions and I honestly didn't really believe any of it. So coming here at age 13, I already had that mentality, the skepticism, the questioning. So I wasn't really tied to a belief system when I came here. But yeah, Alma, you bring a good point. Coming to a different country kind of makes you see a different lens, right? Different perspective, different vantage point. Realizing how there's a lot of BS in this country. And I
Yeah.
like starting with, for example, the Catholic Church, you know, putting their hands on children. I knew about that since I was in Peru. But then when I came here, I started learning about white Christian nationalism, how Christianity wants to take a hold of the government, and it's really scary, and how white people came and invaded this country and slaughtered the Native Americans, So all of those things I started learning here, and learning it from an immigrant's perspective definitely made a big difference. For me, the hardest thing, I don't know what the hardest thing would have been. I guess assimilating the very first couple of years was very hard because I didn't speak a lot of English, honestly. I knew some English, like words, lapis, pencil, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I couldn't form a whole sentence. And so that was very difficult for me. However, I learned it really quickly. Thankfully, I had a really good teacher in school who was pretty awesome. Gave me like special homework and exercises, and I learned it really quickly. And also, I'm thankful that I ended up living in a state where there's a large community of immigrants as well. So I didn't feel as ostracized or isolated as if I were like in, I don't know, Wisconsin or Tennessee or, one of those places.
Alabama.
Yeah, exactly. So it felt very much at home, thankfully. So I have not experienced racism to that level that Alma spoke about, but I have experienced racism for sure. Where I live, there's a huge population of Native Americans and Hispanics. I'm not going to say the state in which I live, but I live very close. I'm border state to Mexico, so the majority of immigrants here are Mexican immigrants. In terms of what am I talking about now? I don't know. Religion. I never wanted to go to church when I came to the United States. My mom did. She would force us to go to church. But then as I grew older, I just was able to refuse on my own and actually not go. But honestly, like when I started like college, I think that was the time where I actually started learning about atheism, like started watching the Atheist Experience like in 2007. I started reading some books and I'm like, you know what, this makes more sense. And so I started learning about those, arguments, counter apologetics, if you will, right? And yeah, I started identify as an atheist when I was like, 18 or so. Yeah.
Around that time,
I went all over the place. Go ahead, Alma.
During that time, the year that you said 2008, that's when I also started to watch the Atheist Experience.
Right, isn't that cool?
A small channel and like the in cable. I don't know, and it was to me
public,
it was
Like
infuriating.
public access.
Public access.
Public access. Yeah.
To me, at first, when I started to see it, I was like, oh, these people are awful. How dare to criticize Jesus and whatever,
Yeah.
But then I started to actually listen to what like Matt Lahonti and all the other people were saying. And it started to make a little bit sense when I heard that like the side that I was defending Jesus started to lie more than Matt. And I was like, what the hell? It's not what it's supposed
That's
to
awesome.
be.
That's awesome.
I honestly, sometimes I wonder how many people are atheists, all thanks to Matt. Like, he's awesome. That's so wicked.
I got to meet him in person.
Oh, really?
Me too. I have a picture of me, like, literally being like, it's so awesome.
I got to meet him last year. Yeah.
Oh my God, he's the nicest guy. Like, he was like, he gave me, this is pre-COVID, just so you know, but he like gave me a hug and he like looked at me like, oh my God, what's wrong with her? And I was like, it was so cool. So cool. And then his girlfriend was there too. And she was like, he's really nice. And I was like,
yeah, I know. I see that.
Like, no words. They probably thought I was like,
that's awesome.
Speaking.
We've got a question in the chat by Ascalon. So thanks, Ascalon, for your question. Says, what is your favorite thing about the countries that
Mm.
you moved to?
Oh, I love that
Um,
question.
I can answer that question.
Yeah.
I don't mind going first. Number one is women have rights, more rights here in the UK. Um,
Not here.
so in
and in the US.
in Nigeria, the rights of women are just this hardly no women haven't got a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the president of Nigeria a few years ago said the woman belongs in the other room.
Yeah.
So he said women belong in the other room. So this is the one who is in charge of the country. Um, Secondly, I like that my children they're growing up as critical thinkers, right? They're not just
Mm-hmm.
people that just move along with the crowd. If we were back there, they would have expected to just follow the norm. Don't question, just follow. But no, here in school when they mix with other kids from other places, it's something that it happens very naturally. Immigrants will come over to the UK with their children and try to guard them. No, don't be like the children over here. Don't be like. I just think it's pointless because once the kids go out, they will meet people, they will socialize, and before you know it, the very thing you don't want them being, that's exactly what they're going to be. So, yeah, that's the good things about my the country I live in.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll go
Um,
next.
mhm.
Sorry, Alma.
No,
I'm
it's okay.
super excited to say this because, okay, Canada is my favorite part is the multiculturalism part of it. And with multiculturalism comes the best food. Like, I swear, I live in Calgary, Alberta, the province. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. That's okay. It's a big city. And there's lots of, we have a road called International Avenue. And literally, as you go down International Avenue, you've got like a restaurant from countries that you would never be exposed to unless you had that multiculturalism, right? And I'm a huge foodie. Food is it's my life. It's my everything. I judge everything based on food.
Mm-hmm.
Don't invite me over to your house because I might be a little bit critical. Just kidding. But no, really though.
I'll invite you here. You have no idea.
You're in Mexico, so the food's all by default.
I
It's
love
fine, right?
Mexican
Okay.
food.
Mm.
Oh my god!
Yes. So
And
yeah,
I
for
love
me,
the
it's
food
the
from your
multiculturalism.
region too, where you're at, Alma. I freaking
Yeah.
love it.
Region X. Where does Baphometal like his food from? We won't say. Somewhere in Mexico. Yeah. So, sorry. Sometimes I think I'm funny. Sorry. I'm sorry. Anyways, for me, it's the food and the multiculturalism. That's
Nice.
all.
For me, during the first years that I was in the US, I loved it because it wasn't like it wasn't as bad as it became later on with the racism and everything. There will
But
be
you
like
didn't speak English, so you didn't understand what they were saying, right? So you
yeah.
probably thought that everybody was being nice. And
No,
like...
you know what? It was like even at that time everything was a joke. Like in the company that I was working with, and they were saying something like, "You're coming to take my job," and I would be like, "Yeah."
You bet your ass I
You bet your
am.
ass I am. And yeah, we will have jokes like that, and it was nobody like being up in arms about it. But then it started to get so weird.
Yeah.
But
That's
then
too
Trump
bad.
comes along and they're like, "You're taking our jobs," and you're like,
Ugh.
"I am."
I am.
Right?
Yes,
Like
actually,
Trump
yeah.
just made it. Yeah, it got scary. It is scary.
My favorite part of the U.S. Is unfortunately not the people. It's the country itself. I love the geography. That it's such a vast country. There's so many beautiful areas to visit that I need to go visit. I know. Other than that, I hate it here.
Oh,
So
My
again,
life
for
is
all the
here,
viewers,
so
if you were looking for that positive add to your day,
Yes.
we have Baph for you.
For me, it was the medical, actually, because in South Africa, you pay an arm and a leg for medical. And if you don't have any medical aid, that sucks to be you. You're going to die.
yeah, that's how people
Where-
die
Not the
here.
same in the US. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's-
Where
that's-
here we've got Medicare, and if you go to the ER, you don't pay for that. And you
Must
don't
be
pay
nice.
for blood tests. And yeah,
I'm so
it's
jealous.
really, really fucking awesome.
It's
I had- when I
the same.
had
It's
my
the same
son-
in the UK. It's the same in the UK. We've got the NHS,
Mhm.
and so at the point of receiving treatment, you do not pay. Of course,
What?
you pay through your taxes. Yeah, but at the point of receiving treatment, you don't pay.
Baph
So-
is like, you mean human life is actually cared for?
And it's funny because
What?
I work in the
Funny.
medical field. Actually, I work in a hospital, and I know firsthand the struggles that people have
That's so sad.
for affording medical care in this country, and it's so abhorrent
Trust
that
me.
people have to suffer, have anguish and worries just to freaking be alive in this country, and
Right.
it's so disgusting, and I hate it so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And now,
Even
and now
with
they're
insurance.
forcing,
Yeah.
and now they're forcing women to have babies, and babies are very
Yes.
expensive
That's-
to have.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
And
mm.
Yeah,
they're like,
so
no, just
People
have to."
suck. The medical sucks. Your rights are disappearing. It's a fantastic country.
Country.
God bless America.
You know, it's interesting
Yeah.
how that you said that too, because I don't think I ever actually realized. I had my son when I had my son about 6. How old is he? 6. 6 years ago. He cost of giving birth
Mhm.
never even like crossed my mind. Like I was more worried about like were they going to give me food at the hospital or should I like grab some snacks on the way there, right? Like I never even thought about it. And then with this
Mhm.
whole talk and boom of abortion rights and women's rights. I'm not going to say abortion rights. It's women's basic human rights.
Mhm.
You know, with that being more prevalent, and I started hearing about all of these worries that women genuinely are faced with, and thousands. Like it's not even like it's here's $50 for having a baby. Like here's a $50 bill.
No.
It's here's $20,000. Like
Mhm.
how much do you
Whoa.
think I make? Like because I know.
When my
How
daughter
much-
was born, I had insurance. So I had insurance, and I didn't have to worry about that either. Like Lissette, I was only worried about what was going to happen to me. But when I get the
As
copy of the
every woman
bill
should.
that they send to the insurance, I saw it cost $30,000.
Mhm.
And it was like a regular birth. I didn't have
Yep.
a C-section. I didn't have anything special.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to, because I'm the
$1,000.
Canadian in the group, so I have to
Oh,
also
wow.
add that. That's $30,000 American money.
American.
Like, that's a lot
Yes.
of money. That would be like
Ooh.
50,000 here. That's not accurate, but you know what
And
I mean.
that's
Like it's way
nothing.
more.
Yes.
That's
Crazy.
nothing. If you're talking about like an emergency, like to the emergency
Mhm.
room or like a
Emergency
surgery,
section, yeah.
it goes into the hundreds of thousands. It's pretty absurd.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's I would be genuinely curious to actually contact Alberta Health Services and just ask them, hey, how much was my birth? Because I had an emergency C-section. I
Mhm.
had cholestasis during my pregnancy. I had 3 doctors that were on me like pushing me, and I was like dead from like the waist down. And I'm just like, hi guys, like
Oh,
can
what's
I go have a
up?
coffee? Like, hello, I don't know anything. But then I was like, can I get more drugs? Like, just make sure I'm not in pain, right? Like the moment I walked in there, I just didn't want to be in pain. But I never had to worry about that. Like I can't imagine walking into a hospital and actually genuinely having to worry about, oh, I should ration my
Breathing here is
morphine because I'm
$100.
paying for it. Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, no, I was just like, how many times can I press this beautiful button that is going to directly give me some hydromorph, right? I don't want pain.
So can any of you see yourself immigrating again in the future, or do you think that's it now? This is home. There's no
Baph is
moving
coming to
me.
Canada.
Okay.
You know
Let
what?
me
I
wait.
always think about that.
Hang on. Let me.
Oh,
Let
I'm
me.
so
Let
sorry,
me.
Esther. My bad.
Let me rephrase the question.
Yeah.
Right. If you were offered $1 million, would you migrate?
Good question.
Probably.
Yes.
I probably would.
Everyone said yes. Okay.
Baph would pay to come to Canada.
Yeah. So I've been here since 2001. So 22 years. And I came when I was 13. So I've been here way longer than the time I spent in my country of origin. I settled here. I got education. I have a master's degree. I have a career. So it would be very difficult for me to leave, especially my mother lives here. I would do it though. If there was like a big opportunity like that, I definitely would. I think I would. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I think
Yeah.
experience another country would be awesome. Learn new shit. Eat different food. I'm in.
I love food.
Come down to International Avenue. We'll just go walking down the street.
I want to go hang out with you, Lissette. I want to go hang out with you.
I think
International. Just come. I'll take you guys all. I didn't have to pay $30,000 for my son's birth, so I've got money.
In my own case, I wouldn't mind migrating, but I've got two sons. One's 20 and one's 13. So it's no longer about me anymore, right? It's about what they want to, and my 20-year-old, he's an adult. He can, but my 13-year-old,
whatever.
The chances that if I have to migrate, he's migrating with me. So those are the things you have to consider. But I mean, never say never,
Yeah, for sure. In my case, I would definitely move provinces within Canada. I love the West Coast, like just the islands, Vancouver Island. I would love to go even down to the East Coast, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, those areas. So I'd definitely be open to moving within Canada, but this is I love my country and I love everything about it. And I wouldn't necessarily immigrate to another country unless there was very special circumstances. I would love to visit, like for my son, rather than doing more of an educational goal for him. I know a lot of parents save up for university. I don't know if he's going to go to university or not. He's 6 and he's very smart, but it's his choice, right? Like go do whatever you want. Instead of saving for his education, I'm saving for him to travel, right? So I want him, as soon as he finishes high school or whatever, like go see the world, go travel, learn about cultures, about people's way of living, like go see reality. And then, if you choose to make somewhere else your home, like I'll visit. Hopefully you'll have me once in a while. But yeah, that's I think it's really important to see other countries for sure. But I wouldn't move.
I would move to like places to New Zealand, maybe. I am scared of Australia because I heard that everything kills you there.
Have you seen those spiders?
Yes.
They're like this freaking big. Oh my god.
So really funny story about Australia. Sorry, Elle. I don't know if you've heard this before again, I have to add my little Canadian influence here. But right now, this week, it's been like -40 with the wind chill outside. And we got like about 3 feet of snow over about 3 days. So nobody goes out, right? Unless you absolutely have to, which I guess is lots of people. But the snow is so compacted onto the road that it's pure ice. Like the snow of 3 feet is like down to like this much. So it's pure ice, right? And so everybody in the summer, in the winter will always say, like, why do we live in a country where it hurts to breathe? Like, why are we here? Like cars are just like sliding. People are smashing into each other. Everybody's like being like, I'm sorry you hit me. But then summertime comes along and we'll have these memes from Australia where it's like this massive big spider or like the snakes. And it's like, this is why we live in a country where it hurts to breathe. This.
It hurts to breathe. Oh my god.
It really does. We've got a way of breathing.
That's the one thing with Canada. I would love to be there, but the winter, I don't know if I could stand it. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen.
We make it work.
Seen some
Bundle up.
seen pictures and videos from Canada, and I'm thinking, how are people living in this place? But the
So I have
Canadians,
not even joking. I literally walk around my house with with my space heater.
but how do you heat up the whole house though?
We have a furnace, so the
Right,
furnace
okay.
leads to all of the rooms. But the problem is,
Even with
it's-
that,
yeah, yeah. I mean, it can get. I'm in the basement right now, and basically any home in Canada has basements. Like the
Oh.
95% of homes will have basements, and it's a lot colder down here. And so I walk around with my little space heater. But for them, I mean, it's livable. The houses are built like we're not in igloos, right? Like we're good. We're good.
we're still good.
But I've been asked by Americans, like, hey, so do you live in igloos? I'm like, yes. And I ride my polar bear to work. Like, absolutely.
A moose.
It's so amazing.
You know, people in other countries also wonder, how is it possible for people who live in the United States? You know, it's like, how do you live there in that place?
I question that every day. Like, how do you live there?
We have freedom.
Freedom to be shot of at the mall or
Yeah.
the
Pretty
Starbucks.
much.
You have bulletproof backpacks now.
Mm-hmm.
Heartbreaking.
Where I live now, I'm pretty happy because I don't know if you can see the background. It's a picture of a place where I used to go.
That's so nice. I'm so
in the
jealous.
weekends. So yeah, I am pretty happy here right now.
I'm
That's
definitely
why
visiting.
that's why I'm visiting. Yes, I can adopt you.
Yay! I'll be
So-
your extroverted friend.
Yay!
Just kidding. I'm
do you-
very introverted.
Just put her in a backpack.
So
Yes.
this, like,
Bulletproof backpack.
No,
God.
there is no. You know, this is the weird part that even we have a bunch of drug dealers in the area, and they don't shoot each other in here.
no. Hmm.
They talk things out like real people.
Yes.
Hmm.
Hey, you!
They just tread each other, and that's it.
So the title of this stream says uncovering a secret.
Ooh.
There must be one of you who got a secret about immigration.
Well, I don't
I
want to
don't.
talk about it.
But
Dude,
someone
secret.
someone must have a secret that needs to be told.
I once arrived in a trunk of a car. Is that
What?
Okay, this just got too dark.
Alma, I love you so much. Like, you're literally one of my favorite humans. I just adore you. I love you.
I think the secret should be that immigration
talk
shouldn't
about-
be romanticized.
Mm.
It's a struggle. It's not easy. So stop romanticizing immigration.
100%.
And immigration is just moving elsewhere. So stop criminalizing that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Mic drop.
Thank you. Yeah, that awesome. Thank you.
So, Alma, where were you going in the trunk? I'm like curious.
It's a secret.
Oh,
Well,
I can't tell you. I mean, I used to do that, but in Chile, like that was in my own country to get into the beach because you had to pay per person. So my dad would
Oh,
be like,
yeah.
I'd be like, it's so hot in here.
Well,
sorry.
Unfortunately, Alma, I would not be joining you in that trunk. My trunk won't fit in the trunk. So no.
what you gonna do with all that junk inside?
Drunk
there?
and drunk.
No,
Oh my god.
no, my junk wouldn't fit in the trunk. Right, that's what I meant to say. My junk will fit in the trunk. So,
I thought you were talking. I'm so slow. I thought you were saying like I have a smart car. It's too small.
No.
And then
I'm
Baph
trying
said
to
his joke,
say-
and I'm like,
I'm trying to say,
oh.
if Alma is in there, right, my junk would fit in that trunk. alongside Alma. So no, I
I'm
wouldn't be
just here to
saying
translate for the people that are a little bit slower like me. I'm here representing my crew that's out there who like the joke just went right over their heads. I'm here for you people.
Oh my
I will sacrifice my dignity for you.
Oh well, this has been fun. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. All the and also to say thank you to the patrons. Um, if you would like to consider being a patron, because your contributions do help the channel and helps to bring all of us together to have these awesome conversations. So please do consider becoming a patron. And if you're not subscribed, please make sure to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Because this has been good. This has been awesome. And before we go, is there anything any of you would like to shill out? Tell us where can we find you? What you got coming up? Or final thoughts?
I'll go.
No,
Go ahead.
go
No.
ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead, Beth. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm half, like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm half of the Burning Eden podcast. It's a comedy and religious satire. So this me being funny, this is the whole episode, just us laughing the whole time. But we do talk about serious things like religious deconstruction, and religious trauma. We recently had a person, a really nice guest, talk about his religious deconversion, his religious trauma, exiting a cult. That was some crazy stuff. So, yeah, the link is in the description of this episode. You just follow my link. I'm also on TikTok. If you are on that crappy application, it's terrible. It's
What's your name? What's your name on TikTok?
just search Baphometal. You'll find.
I'm on there as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
goodness.
have 2 channels. It's just all whatever. I am very blasphemous. I'm not showing it in this episode, but I am very blasphemous. I love to talk crap about religion and get people mad. So that's what I do. If anyone watching is attending the Atheist Convention in Phoenix in April, my co-host and I are going to be there as an exhibitor. We're going to have a table, so we would love to say hi to you at the convention, the American Atheist Convention, April 6th through the 9th in Phoenix, Arizona.
Right, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else have anything to final thoughts or anything to share out?
Now, well, I am going to be tomorrow at the Nuestra Experiencia 𝔼, and we are going to be talking about the Bible and the one who doing all the blasphemy there. So
I want to check out your show.
it's really nice. We have an expert that he was an pastor, so he knows a lot about the Bible, and I am just the one asking the uncomfortable questions.
Mhm.
Like, what does that mean? Okay, and also I have we have another episode with Lissette, that is Feminas al Poder. We talk about feminism, and we talk about all the religion as inflicted on women. So if you can, go check it out. It's Nuestra Experiencia. The channel is Nuestra Experiencia 𝔼 on YouTube.
Nice.
Preferably if you speak Spanish or want to learn, because it is all in Spanish.
Spanish.
Oh yes, yes.
We have multiple shows on the channel. Sorry, Alma, I don't know if you were done. I kind of just stepped in there.
No,
I
it's
do
okay,
that
it's
on
okay.
Wednesdays too. Wednesdays are our feminist show where we discuss, like Alma said, our problems that really impact us as women. So our panels are with women. And then we have multiple other shows. There's a little bit of everything for everybody. I'm going to shamelessly plug my true crime again, because that's my jam on the same channel, Nuestra Experiencia 𝔼. And we have lots of shows. Alma, you know them all. You're all.
We
in
have
all of them.
also we also read the Quran. So it's not
Yes,
like
on
we are only
Thursdays.
Lissette recently read the Quran, and we heard all the good things, like the threats, the hell, your die. stuff
We're
like
going
that.
through the entire Quran, and we're not doing it in
Wow.
order from cover to cover because
Holy
we're
crap.
actually doing it the proper way of how it was intended to make. Well, it doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. That's my little
Wow.
blasphemous little addition. So we're going through it all on Thursdays.
Love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Anton is who has really done a lot of research, and he's incredibly knowledgeable. Everything that I ever read just goes right over my head again. So don't feel bad if you don't understand any of it, because I don't think we were meant to. Or maybe it's because I'm a woman. I don't know.
Silence, woman.
Yeah,
Silencio
exactly.
Castilla.
Yeah. I'm nothing but a
Silence,
rib.
El, what about you, El?
Well, final thoughts would be kind to immigrants, because it's already fucking hard enough leaving your country. It's emotional. Just if you can actually just be a kind person to another person that's migrating, just don't be an asshole. Just be kind. It's hard enough as it is.
Mhm.
And then I work with Skeptic Haven, so in the background, and that's mostly what I do.
That's
I'm more in
awesome.
the background sort of person. Yeah. And then if you read the Quran, have you guys come across the bit with if you have children, you need to have 3 children, because that's the amount of children you need as a shield to shield yourself in hell because you're a woman?
No.
Huh?
Children.
No.
What?
We have read a lot of weird stuff, but we haven't come to
Yeah.
that part yet.
Not quite yet.
Yeah, no, that part is fun.
I'm
That
excited.
part was fun.
That's awesome. We've
Yeah.
we've
You
done
have
about
to have
40
3
episodes,
children,
and
though.
each episode is a surah. I have
Yeah.
only one, so I fail as a woman.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you
too.
don't have a shield for yourself in
I
hell,
think you
so,
fell as a
yeah.
woman in every
Sucks to be
religion.
you.
Yes, that is
Yes.
Beth. That is the sweetest
Yeah,
thing
I don't have any
anybody's
children.
ever said to me.
Yeah. And the fact that I'm going to hell in every religion is so comforting.
I'm so
Right?
honored. I've worked really
That's
hard
it.
for that, so thank you, Beth.
You're
Anyway,
welcome.
for myself, my name, the Afro Atheist, is the name of my channel, and most of my streams are usually just impromptu. But if you would like to know about religion, especially Christianity in Africa, and all we get to the meat of the matter. We don't just deal on the surface. We go looking at what exactly is going on in these churches, and why one pastor has 4 private jets. Why does one pastor need 4 private jets? Those sorts of things. Yes,
Mhm.
that's and of course we do deconstructions, well, no, deconversion stories as well from time to time, because Africans are very, very religious, very religious. And so to find people walking away from religion, very rare. So when I do come across people, I like to know what was it that did it for you. I'm always so excited, to find out what exactly was it that did it for them. So yes, yeah, you all come along to my channel, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, we will hopefully meet again
Yeah.
soon.
I would
So,
like to give a big shout out before, I'm sorry, related to Black non-believers.
oh
There
yes,
is an awesome organization called Black Non-Believers, and you can find them at blacknonbelievers.org. I'm not associated with them. I'm just giving them a big shout out because they're
yes,
awesome.
and
But they
these
do bring together the community of a person of color living a religious community, because really religiosity is so associated with the Black community that when they leave it, it's very difficult, right? Because you're also leaving your community behind. So blacknonbelievers.org, great organization. Big shout out.
Right, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for the conversation in chat. I've just been having a look, and my goodness, it's been very busy in the chat. So thank you so much. And Skeptic Haven, why would you keep such a beautiful L in the background? Bring her out a bit more. Come on. Anyway, thank you all so much, and we'll see you again very soon.
Thank you.
Bye bye.